Welcome, everybody. We're so glad that you're here. It's easy to get distracted. Am I right? Your microphone's not on. You can't get out of bed in the morning. Whatever it might be, it's so easy to get distracted. You made it all the way here. You made it to church. Yes, and I'm so guilty of this, but you got here, and it is so easy to be distracted here in church, isn't it? Like, what is this lady talking about? Her microphone wasn't on. Why should I listen to her? Maybe I should check my Facebook again. This is like the perfect time to text back your great Aunt Millie. She's been waiting for that text back. Maybe you need to check the weather for tomorrow. No school. What are we going to do with the kids? Maybe your mind is wandering to later. What are we going to eat? That's like the number one question in church, right? You're sitting here a while. Your tummy starts to growl. What did I eat for breakfast? What are we going to eat for lunch? And it's so easy to be distracted. Life can be distracting sometimes. But listen, I can be guilty of this as well. You made it all the way to church. You got here. God has something he wants to say to you. So I have a little challenge for us going into this new year. Are you guys up for a challenge? Anybody? All right. Challenge us to lean in and listen. So many times Brian will ask me, what'd you think of that message? I'm like, so good, Brian, so good. And he'll say, like, what was your favorite part? And I'm like, all of it. All of it is brilliant. And I've made a decision this year to lean in and listen and have something to say. Because what's better than telling your spouse or someone, what's better than telling them, someone you love, that you love them, telling them why you love them. So let's have something to say. That's my New Year's goal, is whenever I hear a message, I'm going to have something to say. That was a great message because of this, how it affected our lives. Because God does have something he wants to say to us, not just every week at church. This is a great place to come and hear what God has for us, but it's also every single day. God has something for you. God has something for me, and he wants to connect with us. He wants to talk to us. He wants to hear from us, and he wants to have a moment with us. So I challenge us. To focus this year. Now focus. If distractions are so easy, it's easy to get distracted. And we need to focus. We need to remember that it's a fight to focus, but it's worth the fight. And distractions will come. They will. Distractions happen. It's not wrong to be distracted. It's wrong when we let the distractions control us. So it's not about the distraction. It's about how we're going to deal with the distractions. This week I was a little bit distracted. I was making dinner. I was making a big pot of chicken noodles. I doubled the recipe, taking it to a friend who needed dinner. I know, I'm so nice. And I was making dinner, and in the midst of that, I was like running and, basketball practice and blah, blah, blah. You don't want to know, not a day in the life of Danielle. It's boring. But I was doing that, and in the meantime, just a few days before, there was like the ice thing happening, and I had to drive, and my headlight went out. And that's not, anybody tried to drive in the storms with a headlight out. I was stressed. It was not easy, and I was like, okay, you know what? Right now is the perfect time to change my headlights. Yeah, I did that, and I didn't know how. Nope. Never done it before, so I decided to Google how to change headlights. So I was making dinner, I was running around, I was trying to fix the headlight, and I Googled it. I did one perfect. Just got it in, done. Number 2, dropped it, bottom of the van, couldn't reach it. I was like hanging, nope. This is not good. I'm going to lose an arm. I don't want to do this. So I was like, okay, I have to regroup, rethink what I'm doing, went back to the dinner, and then I had to humble myself after making a few phone calls and not having a plan. I had to humble myself and go to Brian and tell him, I'm not usually an idiot, but I feel like one right now. I dropped the light. Thank you. Thanks. But I did. I felt really dumb. I dropped the light down. Well, first I was like, I've done something. He was like, what? Like he was freaking out. I was like, well, I dropped the light down. I don't know how to get it. What do you recommend? And he was like, remember that long stick with the with the magnet on it. Maybe that'll, and I was like, oh, brilliant, good job. So I ran downstairs to get it, and Brian ran all the way down with me just to put his coat on because I looked ridiculous. I was sweaty from making dinner. I had on 3 coats and a hat. On top of my stocking cap on, Isaiah got this ball cap with a light on the end. So handy. Where's that been all my life? Even making dinner, I was like, what's in there? And so I had all this stuff on. So he ran down with me, put his coat on just so he could come outside and take a picture of me and offer moral support. He was like, you got this? Because I got nothing. But yeah, he doesn't know how to fix anything. He's like, what are you thinking? Why are you doing this right now? But I was in this moment and I couldn't finish anything because I was so distracted by everything. Ever feel that way? So distracted. I don't know what I'm doing, where to go, what to think, and by no means do I have a clue what what God's called me to do right now. I'm so distracted by all of the other things in my life, and my sweet husband, the magnet worked. I got 2 headlights, everybody. Thank you. Thanks. It didn't even break, so God was good to me that day. Made the dinner, all was well, and life went on. But distraction, it's this pulling apart, this dividing of our minds. And do you know that we have an enemy that wants to distract us, that wants to divide our mind, that wants to disengage our faith, and at all costs, he will do whatever he has to do to distract you. Now, the Bible tells us the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy, and that is true. But why would he need to destroy you if he can distract you? If he can take you off course from what you're called to do, what you're supposed to do, if he can distract you with something else, he knows eventually you'll destroy yourself. And this enemy that we have, yes, we know that. We know we have an enemy. He's trying to distract us. We know that there's distractions in life. It's not if, but when. We know that it's not about being distracted, but what to do with the distractions. But what do? Because distractions happen. Trust me. They happen every single day. I feel distracted by what's going on around me. It's a fight to focus. But I'll tell you, it's worth the fight. There's this random story in 2 Kings 4. It's just this story. It's like, was there like a slow news day? Why do I need to know this? Because Elisha's traveling around and he's doing so many cool things. God is with Elisha. He's a prophet. The miracles are being done. He's doing incredible things all around. And he gets to this point in 2 Kings 4, and it's a random, weird story. He shows up to this group of leaders, young leaders, and he's going to speak to them. He's got something good to say. He's going to challenge them. It's going to be good. And as soon as he gets there, he realizes that there's a famine in the land, so they're distracted. Anybody ever been hangry? These guys were hangry. There was a famine. They didn't have any food, and so he decided, okay, before I give them this good word, I need to feed them so that they're not distracted and they can hear what I had to say. Now, there was this one guy. There's always the one guy that's like, ooh, me. I'll make the soup. I'll get the soup. You need me? You need me, Elisha? What do you need? I'll go make the soup. I'll get it. I'll get everything together, and I'll put it in the pot. I wish I had someone like that in the house. Like, why? Why do I always have to make dinner? Why can't somebody else run out and get something, okay? No, but he's like, ooh, me. I'll make the soup. So he goes out and he gathers all these herbs and spices, and he brings them in, and he puts them in the soup, and he's stirring it up. He's so excited. I've got this soup to give to everybody. And as they all sit down, this group of young leaders and Elisha, they're ready to eat. They're excited. There's a famine. They're hungry. Tummies are growling. And they sit down to eat. First bite, we picked the wrong guy to make the soup. There is something off about this soup. There is something bad in this soup. There is something poisonous. They spit it out, and they do not eat the soup because there's something bad in the soup. Somebody say there's death in the pot. There's death in this pot. And so they sit down, they're in this moment, and they're deciding whether to eat this food or not. They've spit it out, they're cleaning it up, they're looking at Elisha like, what do we do? There's death in the pot, we have no food. We're still hungry, we're still distracted. We can't hear what you have to say. We were distracted by hunger before, and now we're distracted by death in the pot. Here's the deal. We all have ingredients in our soup. We all have things that make up our life, the decisions, our past, our present, all the things, our families, the way we were raised, the things that go on in our minds. We all have ingredients to our soup. I'm asking, what's in your soup? Because of all these ingredients, how do we determine when there's death in the pot? When the distractions have gone too far? If distraction is a dividing of our mind, I think that's why God's word tells us you can't serve both God and money, because the money becomes a distraction for you. The chase for something better, bigger, something more. And that becomes a distraction for you in your walk with God. And so God knows that you cannot have a divided mind. You can't serve both God and money because of distractions. Here's how to combat that. God says, here's an opportunity to give back. Every time that you have an increase in your life, give back to God's house. Every time that you have a raise, anytime that you have a money that comes in, you give it out, because you can't serve both God and money. Don't be distracted by money. Now, it's not bad to have money. You need it. It's not bad to have nice things. It's not bad to look nice. It's not bad to have a lot of things. What's bad is when that beauty consumes you, and that money consumes your heart and your mind. You're always thinking about how to get more. That's when it gets death in the pot. Distractions. And I think we need to talk about something super important right now. Super important. We're talking, this ruins a lot of lives. It ruins a lot of relationships. It ruins people. This mentality that gives us a lot of distractions in our life. The mentality is, I deserve this. The I deserve this mentality. I deserve this raise. I deserve this dessert. Sometimes I really do think I deserve a little extra dessert, but that just every once in a while. Sorry. I deserve this drink. I deserve that new house. I deserve this attention from this person. I deserve this. Now, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. You were designed before you were born. God had a plan for you. He loves you. You're chosen. He believes in you. You're more than a conqueror. You are all those things. Yes. But the moment that you step into, I deserve this, it becomes all about you and none about him. If God created you, if he loves you, if you are chosen, if you are made for greatness, don't make it all about you. Realize that he gave you those things. It's through him that you have victory. I think so often we get consumed with the I deserve this mentality. Maybe the me, the give me, the bigger, better. This is a better paycheck. This is a bigger opportunity, God. This is better views, this house. Oh, everything is so bigger and better. It has to be from you. But did he call you to that? Does he want you in that spot? Don't get caught up in the bigger, better. Sometimes we have to treat these things like temptation. You have to stay away from these things. Whatever it is for you. Maybe it's anger for you, or lust. Maybe you've crossed the line into something sinful, a habit in your life, and these distractions have become bigger. We have to treat these like temptations, because they often will start really small. Just a little something. Just a little bit here, a little sprinkle there. And then they become much bigger if we do not pay attention to the I deserve this mentality. We have to pay attention. It's a fight to stay focused, but it's definitely worth the fight. I found in my life that most distractions are a lot easier to deal with beforehand than in the moment. We gotta have a plan. We gotta prepare. Now, I will say to you, this does not come easy to me. I am not a plan and prepare person. I am a, what are we doing today? kind of person. And I like spontaneity, and I like to live on the edge. Brian asks, what are we doing this week? I don't know. What do you want to do? And I'm like, I know we have a lot of things to do, but right now in this moment, I don't know. I don't care. That's more of my mentality. But I hope that in my 41 years of life, babe, am I getting a little better? Just a little better at this? Okay, yeah, he said yeah. But just a little bit better at planning and preparing, because in the moment, everything looks better. You got a chocolate cake in front of you and you really like chocolate cake, it's sitting right there. You're gonna take a bite. Everything looks better in the moment than it does even 8 minutes later. That's psychologically saying 8 minutes. If you can wait it out for 8 minutes, you can beat it. I don't need that anymore. I don't want that anymore. I don't desire that anymore. I can tell myself, no, it's not about I deserve this. It's, do I want to do this? Do I want to step into this? Is this the step that I want to take? Because so often I think we just wander in to whatever step that we take instead of planned, purposeful steps. Because if it's a fight to focus, then it's worth the fight. How do we fight it? We fight it by taking planned, prepared steps towards what God has for us. Because quickly, this situation can become way more about what they think than what God thinks. What's in your soup? Also, who is feeding you? Who is feeding you? Who has a seat at your table? Who is giving you feedback? Who is speaking into your life? Now, my life's pretty open. More the merrier. Let's go. Let's have fun. But the people that I surround myself with, the people that are closest to me, I want them to point me to Jesus. People can easily become a distraction in our life. The Bible tells us that bad character or bad company corrupts good character. But the Bible also says that iron sharpens iron. The Bible also says that two are better than one. So who are those people in your life? Those people in our life should not distract us from Jesus. They should point us to Jesus. Do you have people in your life that are a distraction to you, pointing you away from what God has called you to? 1 Corinthians 7:35 says, I am saying this for your benefit, not to place restrictions on you, not to make your life no fun. I'm not placing restrictions on you. I want you to do whatever will help you serve the Lord the best with as few distractions as possible. It's not bad to have distractions. It's how we deal with distractions. It's a lot easier to deal with them beforehand than in the moment. It's not about the restrictions on our life. It's about dealing with the distractions so that we can serve the Lord the best that we can. I have to ask myself, what are the times that I don't want to be distracted? Noise-canceling headphones, those help. What are the times that I don't want to be distracted? My phone, sometimes I need to put it in the pot and just leave it there and not deal with it because those distractions, maybe you need to delete some distracting apps on your phone. Maybe you need to put some restrictions. My kids have restrictions on their phones. Yes, you bought the phone. You do you with the phone, okay? That's how this works. They have restrictions on their phone. Eventually, they get old enough that they'll ask me, can you take some of these restrictions off? I am 15 years old. And I'll say, oh, baby, those restrictions are not there to ruin your life. They're there to give you boundaries for your life. They're there to protect your life. They're there to give you the restriction that you need so that when I do take it off one day, you'll know the boundary. It'll be in your heart. You'll know, man, I need sleep. I know that, I don't need to mindlessly scroll after 11 p.m. at night. I don't need to. And those boundaries in our life are not there to restrict us, but to help us. I have in my life, I know that number 1 is my time with God. Yeah. Number 2 is my time with Brian. And then number 3 is everything else. As I plan, as I prepare, as I put together my week, I'm thinking of those things. It's a lot easier to say yes to things when you know what you're committed to. A lot of times people want to push back on responsibility. I don't want responsibility. I don't want that because I know then something else is going to tell me what to do with my time. as few distractions as possible means I need to be telling me what to do with my time. Because we have the same amount of time, but what are we doing with the time that we have? I don't know about you, but my life is too valuable, my calling too great to be distracted by things that do not matter. I've also found that the most difficult decisions in life are not between good and bad. I know the difference between good and bad. The most difficult decisions are between good and best. Because I can say yes to a lot of really good things all the time. It's actually really hard for me to say no. Brian is a champion at saying no. I would be like, hey, nope. Kids, hey, Dad, nope. He's a champion at it. He's so good. Like you're really quiet right now, but I aspire to be like him. I'm like, how do you do that? If there was gold medals being handed out, you would get one every time. You're so good at this. Tell me, Yoda, how do you say no? Well, I need help with this. So we're going to do this together, okay? Because here's how you say no. Are you ready? No. Revolutionary, I know. It's just a complete sentence all by itself. Ready? We're going to do it together. 1, 2, 3. No. Now we're going to practice a little bit because it's hard for me. So I find I need to practice. So I'm going to say some things you might not want to say no to, but we're all going to say no because we're in this together. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you going to buy that? No. Are we going to go there? No. Hey, can you help me? No. Just like that. How easy was that? Now, do not say maybe if you mean no. Don't do it. Kids see right through that. A maybe is a hard yes. I just have to talk her into it. Recently, I was talking with my mother and my kids. She's listening right now, I think, somewhere. And she called me a pushover. Mother. And I love you. And I was like, she goes, just ask your mom for it. She's a pushover. And I was like, you mean awesome? I know, I'm awesome. I'll say yes to anything. I'll make it happen. But it's not a good thing. We have to say no to some things. You have a distraction in your life, you can say no to it. Treat it like a temptation. Stay away. Anything that consistently distracts you in your life, say no to it. Now, no one likes to tell themselves no. No, don't eat that chocolate cake. No, don't play that 4th hour of video games. Like, no one wants to tell themselves no. But it's so important for us because there will be distractions. It's how we deal with the distractions because it's a fight to focus, but it's worth the fight. I want to talk for a few minutes about prayer and fasting. Super popular with one. Prayer and fasting. You have to plan and prepare to pray and fast. Matthew 6:16 says, revolutionary, when you fast, not if, but when. And every year it sneaks up on me. I'm like, I know we do this every year, and here it is. We're starting tomorrow our week of fasting from food. We're starting, for a lot of us, a Daniel fast. In the Bible, Daniel was an awesome man of God, and he decided to fast from the king's table. All of the meat, the cheese, the milk, the sweets, all the good things at the king's table, he was going to fast from them. And he ended up stronger at the end of 21 days than the army. And so we're saying, hey, God, we're going to fast this week. Maybe for you, it's coffee. Maybe for you, it's sugar. Maybe for you, it's the salty snack right before bed. Whatever it is for you, you're saying, hey, I'm going to say no to that so that I can say yes to God. Did you know that even Jesus said no? He did. Sometimes he would be done preaching and he would just say, I'm done now. And he would walk away. He didn't come back and go, but I'll be back later. Thank you. You know, he just walked away. And a lot of times he said no so that he could say yes to the Father. Alone time with God, fasting and prayer. That's why we do it. It's not to just take all of the fun out of life. It's only a week. You can do anything for a determined amount of time if you put your mind to it. I know you can. It's saying, God, I need to focus. I need to focus on you, what you say, what you called me to, what you got for me. All the good things in life, I'm going to recognize that they come from you. And this week, I am determined to put all of these things aside so that I can focus on you. And God's so good, and he's so faithful. When we take a time to pray, and to fast, he speaks to us. I love to fast. Now, leading up to it, sometimes not so much. And that's real life, right? You kind of dread things sometimes. You're like, oh, I can't do this. I have to plan and prepare, God. I don't even know what I ate last night for dinner. You're going to make me think about it all week. But when we plan, when we prepare, when we commit and say, God, I'm going to do this, he sees us. And that's exactly what a fast is. It's preparation. It's preparation. It's saying, God, I know I'll be hungry this week. I know I will be. I know I'll be angry at times. I don't want to eat that lettuce again. I know I'll feel lonely, like, oh man, am I the only one doing this? God, do you even care? Do you even see? I'll be tired. But that's the things that we deal with every single day. And in those times when we're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, halt, distractions coming. Warning, bing, ding, ring, work. All the things that come our way. That's the distractions in our life that keep us from focusing on what God has to say. Proverbs 4:23 says, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. And then the proverb goes on to give you some kind of some handles on that. Like, how do I guard my heart? You look straight in front of you and watch where you're going. You must decide to do things carefully. So whatever you do will be right. Keep away from bad people. Walk on a straight path. Do not go one step off the right way. How do I guard my heart, God? You guard it this way. Proverbs gives us exactly what we need to take with us. How do I deal with distractions, God? You guard your heart. My heart is valuable. My heart is important. It's actually too important to not put in the hard work. It's worth the work to take care of your heart. Your heart gets broken. Your heart gets lonely. Your heart gets tired. Your heart gets weary. Your heart gets all of these things. It's worth it to work on your heart. Guard your heart. I often ask myself, based on who I want to become, what's one thing I want to start today? Do you know you do not have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great? What's one thing you want to start today? What's one thing that you want to do to work on your heart and what God has created you to be? Elisha had important things to say that day. The Bible never actually finishes and tells us if he got to say it, but what it does say is this, 2 Kings 4:40. One of the men said, man of God, there's poison in this stew. So they would not eat it. And Elisha said, bring me some flour. Bring me some flour. And then he threw it in the pot. And he said, now it's all right. Go ahead and eat it. And then it did not harm them. I think we need some Christ followers with some flour in our hand. Some flour in our hand to know that this is the God, not just of the Old Testament. This is the God not just of 2 Kings. This is not just the God that raised Jesus from the dead. This is the God of today and tomorrow and the next day. And he gives you some flour for your hand. Put it in the pot. You got distractions in your life, flour in your hand. God, I don't know what to do or which way to go. I'm distracted. My heart is broken. I feel lonely. I feel tired. I don't know what to do next. God says, hey, here's some flour in your hand. Put it in the pot. It's okay to eat it now. He's still doing miracles, and he wants to do miracles today. But we cannot be so distracted that we miss what he has to say. God has something good for us every single day. Following Jesus is not just a weekly event, it's an everyday event. Talking to Jesus is not just a weekly check in with Jesus. It's an everyday conversation. I want to give you some flour for your hand today. Some flour for your hand, some flour for your heart, some flour for that situation this week that you'll feel like you can't even. I can't do it, God. I don't know what to do. There's some flour for that situation where you feel like you want to lash out, but the flour says don't lash out. Maybe you want to go back to that hurtful habit, but the flour says don't do it. Don't do it. That's a distraction that'll keep you from what I've called you to do. What I've called you to do is tell people about me. What I've called you to do is lean in and listen. What I've called you to do is stay on the straight path and do the right thing. What I've called you to do. Here's some flour for your hand, for your situation. Maybe it's for your heart today. You feel like there's death in the pot. You need to get some flour. Because I don't know about you, but my calling is too great. My life is too valuable, and my God is too powerful for me to be distracted by things that don't matter. And friend, your life is too valuable. You might not feel like it. Your life is too valuable. Your call is too great. And your God is too powerful for you to be distracted by things that don't matter. Let's pray. God, I thank you. I thank you for this message. I thank you for your word, God. I thank you that you are not just the God of the Old Testament, you're the God of today and tomorrow and forever. So God, right now, I give you the distractions in this room. God, we all have them. We know what ours is. We're thinking about them, maybe right now. God, I give you those distractions, and I pray that as we go into our week, as we face these distractions, we'll have some flour in our hand. We'll take it with us. We'll have something to say. God, something you're teaching us, that we've heard it today, and we'll have something for this week. As we face hunger, maybe this week, as we face loneliness, tiredness, anger, all the things that life might bring us, God, that you would keep us faithful to you. God, it's not our strength. We're not doing it. You're doing it. So God, we put it in your hands today. Help us to focus on you and to fight for that focus. Maybe you can hear my voice today. You're in this room, you're online, and you need to make a decision to follow Jesus. Today is your day. It starts with a prayer. A prayer is just a simple conversation with God. It doesn't have to be scripted. You don't have to read it. You can talk to him anytime, anywhere. So if you're here today and you need to make that decision just between you and God, simply raise your hand and pray with me. Say, God, I need you. Forgive me of the things that I've done. Thank you for Jesus, and that I can take Jesus with me into the future. Thank you for this flour in my hand that I can take into my future. I love you, I believe in you, and I need you in my life. And for all the rest of us, God, I just pray you would help us to take this flour into our future. This flour for focus, this flour for the distractions in our life. Thank you that you still do miracles today. We love you. It's in your name we pray. Amen.